Check one, check two. Okay, here we go. Okay, and welcome back, everybody. This is the First Inning Podcast, and I am the BX Bomber 2011, along with Roger, the big Yankee fan. Say hello, Roger.
Hello, good evening, BX Bomber. Things are going pretty good, and the Yankees have recently made a move, and we'll see where this all lays out for the plans for the 2019 season.
That's right, man. And the Yankees and Mets are making big moves, actually. But first, I want to talk about actually, man, baseball has really ended right now, because right now in Cuba, it's the team called La Tunas. They just won their World Series over there in Cuba, and that was a hell of a game, man. I was watching that, and that thing looked like it was like 1996 over there, man. People screaming, going crazy, and just the other day, plus in the Dominican Republic, they have the Tigers de Lucy. Basically, their name is called the Loose Tigers, and they're playing the Estrellas, the All Stars, right? And already, I don't know if you noticed, Fernando Tatis, he has a son, is Fernando Tatis Jr., right? And he has the first awesome bat flip of 2019 already of the year.
Wow.
He hit,
okay.
He I think it's game 4 or game 5 in the World Series, in their championship World Series. And he hit it was 5-3, and he hit a 3-run blast in the bottom of the 9th inning to win the game. And he had the awesome bat flip already. That's already trending.
Excellent. I'll check that out on YouTube or MLB Network as well, or MLB.TV. That sounds good, and it is great. I'll tell you, the Cubans.
And hold on, just for people just to know, Fernando Tatis, if you know about him, the player, he's the only player in MLB history to hit 2 grand slams in the same inning off the same pitcher.
Wow, yeah, that is interesting information for sure.
And I saw that
really
game on ESPN. How about that? That's why I never forget it.
you viewed a piece of history there.
Yeah, man, he had 2 grand slams in the same inning off the same pitcher. Ain't that something?
Wow. That is really an amazing thing to happen, for sure, and no doubt about it. And the Cubans, they love baseball in Cuba, no doubt about it. And the Dominican Republic is a hotbed for very great baseball players as well. I mean, many of the Dominican players, it is their dream to come to the United States and play baseball here in the United States.
Yeah, man. Look at 1998. When we got El Duque floating off a raft. How about that? You see, Steinbrenner was lethal, wasn't he? Steinbrenner used to secretly go to Cuba and speak to Fidel and all that. That's how he got El Duque to come over here. They said, all right, they paid Fidel some money and they let him float off in a raft. And he had to make it to America on his own. And he made it, and the Yankees picked him up, and there we go. He wins a World Series. Ain't that something?
Yeah, it's amazing. He certainly was a very reliable pitcher for the Yankees there back in the late 90s, no doubt about it. And he had his half brother also over a pitcher. Also, his half brother was pitching in the majors as well. Yeah. But El Duque was a very reliable, good pitcher. He had that very high late kick that he had. And he was a very reliable, you can put it in the bank when he was on the mound most of the time, especially during the postseason.
Yeah, man, that was El Duque, man. That was heavy. But let me tell you, man, the Mets are making some big moves, man. You know that? They just recently signed Jed Lowrie to a 2-year deal, man, for $20 million contract.
Oh yeah, I heard that he was signing. Yeah, the Mets have made some serious moves.
And as well, they just announcing that the Mets are in the sweepstakes for Bryce Harper as well, and they're planning to pay him $160 million.
Wow, that's going to be their offer, huh? $160 million.
That's their offer, $160 million. That's what they say. So I guess it's take it or leave it for Harper there. So if he takes that, man, yo, the Mets, they can actually make it to the playoffs and maybe win something. You know, who knows? You know, but that's on their side. Now let's talk about the Yankees, because we're on the other side.
Okay. Well, what the latest that the Yankees have done, and I have some feelings on it, and there's some other bloggers and sports people out there that have different feelings, so there's a lot of information floating around, is that the Yankees just signed DJ LeMahieu, who spent quite a number of years with the Colorado Rockies. And I have some information pretty much from Pinstripe Alley again, who is giving this information.
Oh, cool. What they say?
And it is saying that LeMahieu is an 8-year MLB veteran who came up with the Cubs in 2011, but was traded to the Rockies after the season with his rookie eligibility still intact. Old right-handed hitter, is a two-time All-Star who won 3 Gold Glove awards. LeMahieu won the National League batting title in 2016 with a .348 average and finished 15th in the MVP award voting as a result. He's logged 7,460 innings at second base throughout his big league career. LeMahieu also has 245 innings under his belt at the hot corner, plus 4 frames at shortstop and 13 at first base. He boasts an .834 career OPS at Coors Field, but only a .673 on the road. LeMahieu's report 2-year deal is $24 million, with LeMahieu's salary included. The Yankees' projected 2019 payroll for luxury tax purposes stands at approximately $214.7 million. That figure includes $141.255 million committed to the players under contract, $9.725 million for the 4 arbitration agreements that have been announced, $43.5 million that the MLB trade rumors estimates will be awarded to the 5 remaining arbitration eligible players, and $5.72 million for pre-arbitration players and 40-man roster players in the minors. It also includes the estimated $14.5 million in player benefits. The $214.7 million payroll estimate puts the Yankees over the $206 million luxury tax line by about $8.7 million. Remember, projected payroll isn't subject to luxury tax. Neither is opening day payroll, nor payroll from any other point during the season. The only thing that matters, and is ultimately subject to a possible penalty, is where the team's payroll stands at the end of the season. If the Yankees' final payroll end up being $214.7 million, then they would pay a 20% tax on the overage. In that case, their projected penalty would be $1.74 million. And it says that the team can add about another $11.3 million more to the payroll without seeing an increase in their 2019 tax rate. Once their payroll hits $226 million, they would pay a 32% tax on every dollar spent over that $226 million threshold. If their payroll exceeds $246 million, they would be required to cough up a 62.5% tax on every dollar spent above that $246 million threshold. And it says that the LeMahieu signing does not necessarily preclude the Yankees from signing Machado. LeMahieu projects to serve an utility role handled by Neil Walker last year. Walker produced a 0.1 WAR in 113 games for the Yankees in 2018, while LeMahieu compiled a 3 WAR for the Rockies in 128 games. He produced a 2.9 WAR in 2017 and a 5.3 WAR the year before. So LeMahieu's signing could represent a significant upgrade for the Yankees at the utility spot. And then the final thing is, I'm not ready to jump to any conclusions about whether LeMahieu's signing signifies the end of the organization's pursuit of Machado. I must admit, though, it would be richly bizarre if the Yankees are willing to go over the electric tax line to sign LeMahieu, but not a superstar like Machado. Stay tuned. So,
well, let me explain what they missed there. First of all, they have LeMahieu there as a hard hitter.
right.
In the Statcast. What they show is he's fourth in hardest hits over 95 miles per hour and exit velocity.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And as well, he has 3 Gold Gloves at his position, and as well, he has a batting title. So
right.
He's pretty good as a player, you know. So then, and let's talk about the tax threshold. Who invented the tax threshold?
Oh yes, the whole Major League Baseball situation.
Who invented that? You don't know who invented that?
No, I'm not sure of the actual.
George Steinbrenner invented the tax threshold. We started that. Why? Because Major League Baseball was falling apart and teams needed money. So what happens is the tax threshold is a welfare for teams. So if you go over that limit, that tax helps underprivileged teams keep up their stadium. That's the point of that tax threshold. So we were helping a lot of teams for a long time, you know, because as many times as we went over 200 million, you know, we helped MLB like crazy. So that's the reason why they have that. It's a welfare. You know what I mean? And that's how teams survive.
The better way to put it is it is a social program for competitive balance.
Yeah, and also it generates money for all of Major League Baseball to change things. Like a few years, like 2 years ago, all of Major League Baseball, I think, is continuing. They're changing the lights to make that flash in the home run. You know, when they hit the home run and it flashes, every stadium is changing to that. So those are one of the, you know, those are the few things that they do. Stuff like that. Like every stadium has to do the same thing now. Like when you go to like a Yankee stadium and let's say the Oakland Athletics, they expect for you to have the same experience. You know what I mean? Like it will, no matter what game you go to, it's the same thing. But yeah, man, I don't know, man, but I think they might be out of the hunt for Machado.
That's the way I feel. I kind of, you know, there's different types of pundits that are saying different things and bloggers saying different things. But really, I mean, Felix from NYY News, who has been doing a Yankees podcast for many years now, still says that the Yankees have not said that they are out on Machado and don't be gullible. But the way I see it as a case of where the Yankees have not really engaged with Machado since the new year. And they have now signed Troy Tulowitzki and DJ LeMahieu, and they are not really engaged with Machado. And I doubt how much they really were interested in getting Machado in the first place. And it really is a case of where I was looking at a graph recently, and the graph was showing that the Yankees' revenue is going up quite a bit, and their payroll is dropping in comparison to revenue.
Oh, yes.
So Hal Steinbrenner has a lot of money. He is operating more in the way of the Yankees making a lot of money and paying less in salary, and that is just the way he is operating differently from George. And I believe, I mean, I don't see any evidence. The way it looks right now with the Yankees not engaging with Machado, that the Yankees probably are not interested. And I believe that they have been lukewarm about it all along, and they just have a different operating mechanism at this point.
Yeah, because I have the actual numbers on the revenue. I actually did research on that, and I actually have numbers on the revenue. And the last numbers, they don't have the revenues of last year, but their payroll was 191 million, right? But in 2017, from 2005 to 2017, they were averaging about 200 million on a player payroll. Okay? From 200 million to 224 million, they were averaging on a player payroll. And that's from 2005 to 2017. So that's what, 12 years, right? They were doing that. In those 12 years, their revenue actually gained double in 12 years. They doubled from 300 million in 277 million in 2005 in revenue. They doubled in 12 years to 619 million in revenue. Right?
Wow.
They're making 619 in revenue in 2017, and they were paying the players 224 million. Okay? So that's a percentage of 36%. They were paying out of that money they were getting. They were only spending 36%. So maybe they spent a little bit more in the stadium. Let's say it's 40%, 45%, right? Let's give it that. There's still a whole 55% of money there. Yeah. How come they can't spend that? You know what I mean? They're gaining and gaining and gaining, you know, but how come they don't give it back to the player, to the people? You know?
It is going into profits, and that's how Hal is a businessman, and he operates much differently than George, who would put more back into the team, and Hal just has a different operating level, and that is why I think that they may not have been fully in on Machado or Harper, because they are also thinking about the fact that in a few years they're going to have to be paying Judge and Sanchez and that sort of thing as well. And there's no guarantee that they're even going to reward their own players, really, with the way that Hal Steinbrenner operates. So it's just the way that they operate now, and that they, you know, may have not. They already have Giancarlo Stanton on there, which is a big contract, and I just don't see them being very. I have seen them being pretty lukewarm about signing Machado, and they have not really even engaged him since New Year's. So I tend to think that they're going to let him go off to the Phillies or White Sox.
Yeah, probably. He'll probably go over there, you know. And you know what? It's going to suck for the Mets, though. Because whatever team he goes to, they're going to be a lot better with him. I'm telling you that much. You know, but it doesn't guarantee you a World Series, though, you know.
No.
Pitching and bullpen guarantees you a World Series. And then defense.
Exactly.
You know, defense then offense. That's basically what it is. You know?
Exactly.
So, go ahead.
And so we'll see. We'll have to see. You know, it is just the way Hal operates. And, you know, they're probably thinking, you know, he's much more of a businessman type of person that wants to make profits for the Yankees. And, I mean, even the way the Yankees stand now, they're a very good team. Some people are complaining that the Yankees have a chance to get generational players, a couple of 26-year-old superstars, and the Yankees just don't operate that way anymore. And you know, so there is a lot of criticism about it. But I think the Yankees are still a very strong team going into 2019. And some fans are upset with the way that the Yankees are operating now, and others don't want to have Machado. So there's the whole gamut of emotions going on.
Yeah, and also there was a lot of arbitration going on with players' contracts with like Luis Severino, that he was arbitrating. He wants to make more than 600,000 that he made last year. And and what I'm reading here is that the Associated Press, they reported that a Bird agreement is for 1.2 million next year. Betances is gonna make 7.25 million, and his final season of free agency. And Romine settled for 6 million. And Hicks and Romine. Hicks and Romine settled for $6 and $1 million. So Hicks got $6 million and Romine settled for $1 million.
I see. Yeah, I was giving the full. I give the full amount.
And hold on, and
arbitration as well. Yeah.
Right, and Sonny Gray is gonna get $7.5 million next year if he stays on the team. And Kennel, he's gonna make $1.3 million, and Didi is gonna get $11.75 million next year.
Right.
So they're making pretty good money. Not really a lot though, but they got a good players for really low money though.
Yeah, and that is how they are operating now, as we said, and that is why they may not be fully in on the huge contracts of Machado. It's really the way I see it as of right now. But as Felix from NYY News said, you can really figure it out that the Yankees have not said that they are out on Machado, but they have not said anything either way, really. So we really don't know where they stand. But with this signing of Jed LeMahieu, I think it looks less likely that they are going to sign Machado.
Yeah. So with this team the Yankees have now, do they stand a chance against Boston?
Well, it depends on what type of year the Red Sox have next year. The Yankees won 100 games, and the Red Sox won 180. But it is really hard to say. Each year is a different year, and I heard some of the bookkeepers believing that the Yankees over-under number is 96 wins, and that the Red Sox number is somewhere around there too. So I think it will be a major fight once again as to why who will win the division. And I have a little bit from another article here, and it says why they're probably out on Machado.
Let's hear it.
Let's start with Manny Machado, because that's where we all thought it was going to end. No. Signing LeMahieu doesn't mean that the Yankees are absolutely positively won't sign Machado, but it just seems so unlikely to happen now, especially considering that the Yankees haven't made a formal offer to the 26-year-old star free agent. LeMahieu gives the Yankees coverage at first base, where they don't know if Luke Voigt or Greg Bird are the real deal. At second base, where they didn't have a sure backup for Gleyber Torres if he gets hurt or if he is needed at shortstop. And at third base, where LeMahieu can be the late-game defensive replacement for Miguel Andujar. So with this LeMahieu signing, it really makes it less likely that they would, the way I see it, that they would sign Machado.
Yeah, what they did was they said, all right, we're gonna try to get Machado, but let's check the water first and see what we can do. And last resort would be signing Machado. That's what that sounded like. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, like he'll be the insurance if we can't get anybody else. You know?
And I have another counterpoint to it, and that is, but why the door might still be open for Machado. But why doesn't it totally rule out Machado? Because trading Andujar isn't out of the realm of possibility, nor is trading Torres, though that seems far less likely, despite Andujar's better rookie season. Corey Kluber is still on the Indians. The Yankees talked to the Indians about him at the GM meetings and at least up until the winter meetings. Cleveland did background work on Jonathan Loaisiga, Estevan Florial, and other Yankees prospects. But the Yankees revived their talks with the idea of signing Machado and trading Andujar. Sure, why not? Would probably have to strike quickly, though. Although Machado's free agency has taken longer than expected, it feels like after the moves the Yankees made, Machado would take them as clear signs Philly and Chicago each want him more. So that's really where it stands right now. And that information came from a article from and that was by Brandon Cutie of New Jersey Advanced Media.
And because of the Yankees being in on Machado, that raises the price on Machado as well.
Right.
Holding on to that bid on try to get him, that raises the price on everybody else. Meanwhile, you're trying to have another plan on trying to buy cheaper players for the better quality. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
That's what it looked like they actually did by getting Troy Tulowitzki and
LeMahieu.
Yeah, LeMahieu. So yeah, and then you got Andujar still. You got Hechavarria there, that he's really good, and Gleyber Torres. So they got a pretty good team, regardless.
Oh, sure. I mean, think of it. Judge and Giancarlo Stanton and Gleyber Torres and Sanchez, I think, will have a bounce-back season. I mean, they are still a very strong team. As I said in the last podcast, that, you know, the Phillies or White Sox are more in need of Machado than the Yankees actually are, really.
Yeah, I really want to see Jacoby Ellsbury play, too.
I know you like Jacoby Ellsbury, and we'll see if he ends up with another phantom injury this year.
That's crazy, man. I was at that game, too, when he hit that wall, man, in center field in Yankee Stadium, man. I said, oh, man, it didn't look like nothing. And then he never came back, man. And let me tell you, man, since I've been on the field and I've actually tested and ran into the wall, those walls hurt, man. Those walls are not they're padded, but they're like it's a brick wall you're running into.
Exactly.
It's like a boxer's boxing glove punch type of thing. You know? Like once you run into it, you get punched by it, you know, and it could actually knock you out.
Oh yeah. I know it's padded, but it's a very hard wall, no doubt about it. And I have one other little piece from NewJersey.com. But okay, this is Luis Severino, but I think we cleared that up. Weird that the Yankees struck deals to avoid salary arbitration with 8 players, except starting pitcher Luis Severino. It's his first year of eligibility. MLB trade rumors projected a $5.1 million salary for him. That's high, especially for a first-year arbitration player. Severino has plenty of numbers to back it up. He made $604,975 last year. Yankees have only been to arbitration with one player in the last decade, and that was the ugly battle with Dylan Betances in 2016. They have until February to figure things out, and it's likely that they will. Still, Severino's case is interesting considering how good he is and how young he is, and it's easy to see why the two sides would be far apart. So you see that this is really how Steinbrenner operates, really, where, you know, he's really more into making the profits and keeping the salaries down, and there's no guarantee that he will even pay his own players when it's time for them to make money.
Yeah, which is sad because he's pretty much the face of the franchise. Luis Severino. I mean, yeah, you got Aaron Judge, but when you go into the games, they always pointing at Luis Severino. You know what I mean? So he's basically been the face of the team, kind of, since those great moments he did in the playoffs. So, you know, it's sad that they're not paying him over $1 million though. Seriously, you know, he should be making over $1 million, at least $2 million. You know, he deserves it because he's been there. You know, So
and this just seems to be the way they're operating, where there's no guarantee that they will. You know, they may let their own players walk. Well, I'm kind of speculating here.
Well, from what I heard, from what I hear I was listening to Mike Francesa the other day. Not Mike Francesa. I'm sorry, Michael Kay. I was catching a clip of him, Michael Kay, and he was talking about that the general managers are getting smarter on the collective bargaining agreement with the players and the union. And they learn how to work around those trade clause and clause whatever that they go on with in those union with that baseball union So the GMs are very smart on how they make a contract these days. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that's why Michael K was saying that a lot of players are holding out right now, and the ones that are holding out are actually losing out value on themselves. And he said that the smart ones that signed early in the game did it right. Like Andrew McCutchen and them, they signed 1-2 year deals, you know, for a lot of money. 35 million, 40 million for 1 year, you know, and they can, you know, progress that way. But yeah, so they might be they actually might be talking about a strike. It could happen too.
Wow, the
allegedly.
first one since '94.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's that serious, but it could go that way if players don't feel like they're getting paid the right way. You know what I mean? Maybe not this year. It could be next year or the year after. You know what I mean?
Right.
Once players get smarter about it. But I don't know how they change that or how that works with that bargaining agreement, or how long the contract is for. You know, with the baseball union and MLB baseball, you know, they have to have a contract together.
Right.
To protect the players. So I don't know how long that contract was signed for in '94.
Yeah, exactly.
Or did they ever make a new one after that? I would have to research that myself. I really don't know. But,
right, I'll look into it myself. And also, I have one last piece from NewJersey.com, a paragraph here, and that is it fair to kill the Yankees for not signing Harper or Machado? Fans who are killing the Yankees for not signing Machado or Bryce Harper, you're probably right to do it. They're established superstars. They're each just 26 years old. The age would significantly boost the Yankees' chances of winning the World Series in 2019, a year in which they already should feel good about their team. Owner Hal Steinbrenner has put the Yankees well over the luxury tax threshold, and that's without a possible Adam Ottavino signing. That is the relief pitcher. Can't say he's not spending money, right? Can't say he's not committed to winning, right? But I just find it hard to understand how the payroll has stayed just about the same as it was in 2009, with the franchise now valued by Forbes as worth about $4 billion. Maybe there's something we don't know. Maybe the valuation is off. Maybe there's a longer range plan Steinbrenner has, and it involves saving millions when he can. Who knows? So maybe there's a longer range plan Steinbrenner has, and it involves saving millions when he can. So we don't know.
We would have to dig deeper into that. Maybe it could be they're using that money to save the shipping business. Maybe it's tanking.
Yeah, you know, it is all a business, and the Steinbrenners are a business family, and you know, they have a lot of different things going on. So, you know, this is the whole deal. Hal is not George, and Hal may have his own issues going on.
Yeah, I think so as well. Maybe it might be a little bit deeper than what it is, you know?
Right, exactly.
So
exactly. But anyway, so that's the latest news. I think we've got about 40 minutes now here. Let me see the clock. Yeah. And the latest signing by the Yankees is DJ LeMahieu. And I think we put a lot of good information out here. So I think it would be good to end it here and do another one in the not too distant future.
Absolutely, man. We could talk about some other stuff as well. So we'll catch everybody on the next podcast then.
Okay, take care.
So long, everybody. Always remember to, if you lasted this long, to please subscribe, hit the like button, and that'll let us know that you actually support and contribute to the show, and let us know that you care. So long, everybody, and we'll see you on the next one.
Take care.
See ya.